And I feel like we're kind of like we're the McDonald's of fonts too. It's like everything's like 10 to 20 bucks, and like you can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Thank you for being a pal.
What's up, pals, and welcome back to another episode of Pentel Pals, a friendly graphic design podcast between two graphic designers. My name is Cole from Cole Up Design.
And I'm Cam from Canvas Design Company. What's up, pals?
What's up, Cam?
What's up, Cole? What's going on?
Not much, pal. This week's been steady. I got a couple new projects in the cooker.
Nice.
I've been kind of stoked on a couple new projects that I'm breaking up, aren't I?
No, you're not. Oh, I got a message saying my internet is unstable. What the hell?
Ooh.
But
That was the first for you. I get that like 5 times a podcast.
We just got a new router, so
Yeah.
They said it would make our internet better, but so far it's been just still shit.
Yeah,
But
off screen, make him come out, and there's this guy that does like a numbers thing, and it's per room. So make him come into whatever room you're in, and like show him it has to be like over a certain number that your connection is, because like they could have just made the internet better in one side and not the other.
For sure, yeah. We're gonna,
especially if they put it through if it's on the opposite side of a kitchen, all the metal in the kitchen will be like it will hurt your internet cable.
No shit.
And that's why mine's not as good.
Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah,
and I'll never be able to fix it.
That's been like the good thing about having my router's like right there by the TV, and so yeah, like my desk area is in like the corner of the room, so it's fairly close. That's probably why I haven't had too many like internet issues.
Yeah. Anyways,
you want a shirt show? Would you want a shirt show this and
yeah, I was gonna
all this in? Oh, now you're breaking up.
No, but I was gonna say that we will keep in.
Okay.
We just had an episode which, oh shoot, this is a circus. Okay, record, cut before, record now, Cam, future Cam. We just had a great episode on the Shirt Show podcast last week.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Dylan from Upstate Merch and Andy from Shirt Kong. Those guys run a podcast called Shirt Show, and that was a lot of fun. I loved seeing how yesterday when I was watching it, I loved seeing how much they actually kept in. They kept in damn near everything.
That was everything. That was our entire conversation.
I loved it. Because even there was some things I was like, I would have probably cut that. Cole probably would have cut this too. And it was just like, dude, this is so much fun. So we're gonna change some stuff.
They're good.
Pentel Pals.
They're good guys. It was a lot of fun chatting with them, and it was also super cool to have the opposite, right? Like we have now a section of design that we're all super familiar with is apparel graphics, and we get to have the perspective of the print shop versus the design world. Mm-hmm. And so we'll probably have them back on our show sometime in the future.
Yeah,
I'm
scheduling with Dylan as we speak to get those boys on our podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. So pals, keep looking forward to that one. This week's guest is going to be a lot of fun. Before we get there, I as well have had a crazy week with design and clients and stuff. I'm dealing with, I wouldn't say I'm dealing with, I'm working with one of my clients who has the craziest concept art I think I've ever had to work with. And these designs probably won't be posted on my part because they are very graphic and all that stuff. So I'll let the client run with those ideas. But it's been fun. I've been doing like wrestling stuff. I'm talking to a wrestler right now about doing a design for him. Pretty well known wrestler, so that's gonna be fun. amongst picking up some logo projects. So I went from not having very many projects on my belt 2 weeks ago to now I'm fully booked. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun little obstacle to take on this next month. So looking forward to it.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, this week we have an awesome duo on the show today. Their names are Jeremy and Jordan from Brethren Design Co. Two brothers. Two brothers, both super creative. We followed them and their work for quite a while now. So we're super excited to have them on the podcast and hear a bit more about their story and their design projects.
Yeah. Two really cool dudes. Yeah, like Cole said, we both followed them for quite a while, and hearing their story, seeing their synergy to build this thing called Brethren Design Company, building fonts, doing branding, like they're definitely a powerhouse, and it was, it's going to be really good having them on the podcast.
Sweet. Let's bring them into the chat.
Yeah. Jordan, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for coming on such short notice too.
Yeah, no problem. Dude, I got all fucked up thinking it was tomorrow for some reason. And then Jeremy just like sent me a text at 2:30. He's like, "Oh, that's today, right?"
Yeah.
The reason why I said 2 at first and then 3 is because we have a meeting tomorrow at 2, and I just got my days all fucked up.
No worries, man. We know how it goes.
Yeah. And we're letting in right now, I think. Big fan of your guys' work, so this is cool getting you guys on, getting to talk to you and stuff.
Yeah, man, I like both of your guys' work as well, and seeing the Pen Tool Pals pop up. I guess you guys, probably like the last 6 months or so?
Smaller than that, dude, like 20 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, a little
weeks? Yeah, what is that?
A little over 20 weeks that we've been doing this. What's up, man?
What up?
How's it?
How's it going?
Doing well, man.
Thanks for hopping on with us, Jeremy.
Yeah.
For sure, dude. No worries. Thanks for having us.
Hell yeah.
I was like pretty sure that you guys are brothers, but now seeing you guys on Zoom and seeing the last names, it really confirms it for me. But I was like, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're brothers.
Right on, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're super stoked to have you guys on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we're already recording, so might as well just kind of jump into the swing of things. But I guess we can start with where you guys both are at, because you're at different places currently, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
This is our curse. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's our curse of us like starting at the same time and pausing and starting. Like we do it all the time.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah,
all the time.
Brotherly love.
Yeah. But I'm in St. Louis. Yeah, in the city of St. Louis. Been here 10 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, Jordan's over in Tulsa.
Nice. That's where my family's from, is St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
So
yeah.
how's it running Brethren together? Like while you guys are in different states, is it pretty easy communication back and forth? Or
Yeah, I mean, we talk all the time on the phone, and I mean, sometimes we'll do like Zoom work throughs on certain things, and we've also like last year was the first time we met up together and worked for a week. We're probably going to start doing that like at least once a year, but other than that, man, it's like using the Creative Cloud libraries works great for us. That's how we like can grab each other's work quickly. And it's just, communication. I think it helps that we're brothers too. I don't know, like, but there are people, that have just met virtually that run businesses together. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Be like me and Cam, honestly.
I was just about to say, we've never actually met each other in person. We connected over having a nightmare client, and we started just chatting it up. And then one day we were just like, "Do you want to start a podcast?" And we're like, "Yeah." And fucking here we are.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So do you guys use like Dropbox or anything, so that way you guys have like easy like sharing folders?
It's all the Adobe libraries, dude. It makes it so simple. Yeah,
that's
we
awesome.
have libraries for each client, and
and it has like unlimited room. It seems like that's what we were just talking about the other day. We're like, man, I don't know. There's a lot of people that don't use those libraries.
Yeah, I don't.
But it works great. I mean, it's right there in your Illustrator or Photoshop, and like we name our clients that. And then it's just like artwork this. Like some of them have like 300 in there.
Oh, no
Yeah, you get
shit.
the vectors on your screen within like 3 clicks, so it's
Yeah.
super
Nice.
quick.
And can you share those
Uh,
with your clients as well? So like,
Mhm.
And yeah, if they're Adobe friendly,
If
like
you want them
oh, if they're
to,
Adobe friendly, okay. I was
if
gonna
you
say,
want them to be allowed to access
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
well, I was saying like that would be really cool if you can go from like Adobe library. This is what would sell it for me, is if you could share, finished vector files and like, documents, share it with them so you don't have to go through, like Dropbox, or I use WeTransfer for a lot. So
Yeah. I mean, you could make you could have your working library and then start a new library that has like all your, ready to go, your print ready files or all your deliverables. And you could deliver it that way instead of
okay.
like making a file, sending all of it over. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. But
But no, Jeremy, that wouldn't work though, because like the client has to be able to access it without, like, if a lot of
True.
clients
In
don't
that
open
format.
Illustrator. Yeah, they're like they don't
Gotcha.
know how to open Illustrator or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a fucking nightmare sometimes trying to tell them like, I'm sending you the vector file, a doctored up vector file for your printer. You can't
Yeah.
open this file.
Yeah.
I made a
Yeah, you
Yeah.
PDF
almost have to
for
like,
you.
you almost
Yeah,
have to
I
just
made
name
it-
it like "do not touch," like "do
Yeah,
not touch
I
this
know.
file," like
Yeah.
send to printer, "do not touch."
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
how can I go about getting Adobe Illustrator? Well, you got to pay some fucking money now. I want to
don't
mess
do
with these
that.
files.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just don't do
Very
that.
true. Yeah.
But so all right, we established that you guys are both brothers, and I'm always interested in knowing because like my I have two brothers, but both of them are so far away from anything artistic like whatsoever. So was there one of you that got started in like the art world before the other that kind of brought one in, or was it kind of like happening at the same time?
Yes, as far as like fine arts and stuff, like I mean, Jordan always drew pictures and stuff growing up, like, drawing and shit. But I was like in art classes and did like, AP art and was going to be like a painter going to college to be a painter. And, I did a Photoshop class my senior year. So decided to get into design just because that's for more job options and better money, I figured. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I've had a more traditional background of doing the fine art stuff and went to school right away for it. And then Jordan, he was always playing in bands and stuff, and kind of went back to
Yeah.
school and design and got into it. I don't know if you want to chime in, but
Yeah, I went to school when I was like 28 or 29 for design after spending my 20s playing music. And like, that's kind of a cliche story. Like most people that start playing music make their own flyers or shirts, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
I dabbled in design, but and then once music was kind of feeling like a lost cause and I was tired of it, Jeremy was already working as a designer, and I was like, man, that might be something I could do. So I went to school for it. And then,
That's awesome.
yeah, then we just kind of worked separately, for a long time, and just kind of organically started working together, I feel like.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing that on another podcast. But I remember recognizing the band that you played in. What was wasn't the band? Or at least maybe that's in my head.
I don't know, man. We were called First Lady Assassins.
Oh, okay.
It was just a small punk band. We toured like regionally around here, like, so we weren't very huge or anything.
Gotcha.
Check it
We
out
are
on
on
Spotify.
Spotify.
There you go. Yeah, because I that's like
So,
kind of how I have so many different. I tell different stories of how I came up in the art world and stuff like that. But music, I used to run a venue called The Gate here in Bakersfield, and that was kind of like I was skateboarding and I was doing like kind of like skateboardy graphics, but music was one of those things where I looked at all the merch and I was like, I could do that. And I
Yeah.
started kind of like, and that was kind of my segue into, going from tattoo art and, skateboarding art into kind of like the merch world and, graphic design and illustration. But yeah, I remember thinking when on whatever podcast I was listening to with you guys on, I remember thinking music is an interesting way to kind of get into illustration and design and all that stuff. Because remember Dave Quiggle was like a huge inspiration. Now I saw different things he did for like Leaders and War of Ages, and I was just like, that shit kicks. Like I love it.
right on.
But
Yeah. And like if you go to like a conference or something, like there's so many designers that are like used to be musicians or like still kind of are on the side. It's just kind of like there's a lot of similarities between music and design. I mean,
well, it's an easy way to make money on the road too. My buddy Sean does that. Is like he's touring and another job for him to do is to do design work for other bands and connect and network with them. So it's really smart.
Yeah, we were about to start working with this company doing some graphics kits, and they do merch for like YouTube people and everything. And the owner of that merch company was like the guitar player for Under Oath.
Damn,
that's what he does now.
That's cool.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's
That's a
crazy
small
what
world.
musicians can do on figuring out that, hey, I've only got a certain amount of time in this music space. Like my buddy Thomas plays bass for Silent Planet, and he started a music store here in town. He's still touring and stuff, but he found an alternative of what he could still do in kind of the music industry. And I think like designers, we do that as well. Like I played in a band for like 6 years, and when I figured out like a small fraction of bands actually do make it, and I didn't see my band making it, we were good. But I was like, all right, maybe start focusing on art now, because I can still stay in that realm of things. But yeah,
that's what it was for me. And like also just the ability of like when you're designer or whatever for yourself, you kind of have your own obligation to manifest whatever you want. When you're in a band, you have like 4 other members, and it's like, fuck, this dude just wants to like party tonight and not do shit or whatever, like it starts to get like you're kind of like at everyone else's disposal as well. So
yeah, shit gets crazy.
So now it's just my brother and I slowing each other down.
Hell yeah.
Who's the older brother?
I
would have been real shocked if it would have been the other way around.
You guys said that you both like did illustrate, you both did graphic design. You're kind of doing it on your own, and then you guys created Brethren together, and that sort of happened organically. How long ago have you guys started Brethren, and how's that been?
I was like trying to figure that out last night, actually. Jared,
I'd have to look at the last, like our first posting.
I felt it was like March of 2018 or something like that, I think. Because I was trying to be like, wonder when our like 3 or 4 years of doing it has been, and I forget like it's already 2021. I'm like, time is flying. Like
2020 was our first like legit, like with taxes and with the LLC and everything. And then we did probably like a year before that of doing Brethren. So I mean, it's a couple years now. Over 2 years, but.
And we both still work full-time jobs, so we've taken it like hella slow, like where we were just kind of doing freelance opportunities through Instagram and like being paid via PayPal or Venmo and shit like that, to where then we were like, oh, we're starting to make like a substantial amount of money, we're gonna get fucked by the IRS. We're gonna get screwed here. So now it's like, oh shit, we got to turn this into a business.
And then getting like legit clients and start getting.
I can relate to that. I had a full-time job, and I started making a little bit too much money with Canvas, and that's when I laid a plan in place. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get away with this if I keep on this momentum. But yeah, no, I totally get it.
And then just legitimizing yourself a little bit too, and like
for sure,
I mean, like that's been our main goal through like 2020 as well, was like not only really getting our stuff together, but working on the internal things like proposal wise and like how we can like drive our price up, because we know the value of what we do, but it's like how do we sell that to people or make them understand the value of it. And I think that's one thing that we've gotten a lot better at. And like, I mean, we've almost doubled what we made last year already. So it's just trying to like I don't know, manage like ourselves a little bit, and then also let people understand the value and the expectation of what we're going to bring to the table.
Well, you guys have definitely grown your social like super quickly for such a short period of time of starting Brethren. Do you have any advice for someone just starting out in Instagram?
Well, we had I feel like a little leg up just because we had our personals and gained like a little bit of traction on our personals to where when we switched over, we already had, I guess, like, our followers kind of switch over there. But like, I mean, otherwise I feel like we just kind of got lucky. It's like, they say, post work that your best work at the same time. Like, and
I feel,
hashtags.
I feel like we got lucky.
Pure luck.
Well, it's like, and then I've talked to other friends about it. Like, I think it was Jason Craig that was like, yeah, they're like bumper cars. Like Instagram's like bumper cars. Like some accounts are faster than others, and some are slow as fuck. And like
Yeah.
the algorithm thing doesn't make sense. I think because around the time we were doing it, like personally, we were also like trying to get features and stuff. We're like, let's get featured on logo inspirations or good type and do those
Yeah.
prompts. And that's like organically how we started kind of doing Brethren stuff, was actually just designing fun shit for Instagram
Hell yeah.
and then getting clients that way. So I think, I don't know, we just got lucky with it. And with Brethren growing, like I think both of us are still kind of surprised at where it's gone. But then like we're like, most of the people that follow us are other designers and stuff, and that doesn't really translate to like
Funny.
you know, monetary value
Yeah.
that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool, but I mean, and then that's part of why we started making fonts too. One, because it's just really fun, but it's like
Yeah.
if we do have an audience of younger designers and stuff, like we can sell them fonts.
Yep.
You know, that's the one way we could monetize it.
Yeah. I've been trying to think about how I can kind of maneuver that as well. You know, merch is a cool thing to do, but when you can offer another designer, you know, a tool, that's
Yeah.
always very, very, you know, like beneficial for both parties.
Yeah.
And I was
It's a really
actually
good
going to
point,
ask you
too.
about, fonts too. Like, you know, because I love your guys' fonts. I have a few.
Hell yeah.
What got you into that, and how hard was it to learn how to, like, you know, one, build everything out, but also code all that?
I'll let Jeremy take the font thing, except for the very beginning of it, just like how we did it. Jeremy had a couple fonts laying around,
Mhm.
and one night I was just like kind of drinking, and him and I were talking, and I was like, "Fuck it, you have those two fonts. One of them's cool. Let's." We just reached out to Kirk.
Only one of them's cool.
Yeah.
One of them sucks. Don't show
One
the
is
other
very
but-
stylized.
Yeah.
But we just
Gotta
reached
love
out
that
to,
liquid honesty.
Yeah.
I know. And we reached out to Kern Club though, and just sent them a DM, and we're like, "Hey, we have these two fonts." Showed them the letters, and they chose which one that we did, and you know, we sent it to them, and they made it. And through a Slack group that I'm in, like someone was telling us about font self and stuff like that. So we, you know, Jeremy just started going balls to the wall and making tons of fonts.
Yeah, because we actually like learned how to. We actually put that font together like while they were putting the font together too, like learning how to do it.
Really?
Yeah, but yeah, as far as like why is one is just, I mean, we're type nerds, and it's kind of a win-win. Again, like, I mean, you can sell the fonts, but we also, it's just making fonts to use too. Like we do a lot of packaging, and being able to use like fonts we make, like it's just cooler for us, you know, because it's flawless. You know, you're not using any crutches, you know, in a sense.
For sure. How does it feel when you get tagged in something, another designer using your font, and you know, like on like a label? It's got to be the coolest feeling. I remember when I first started buying fonts, I was like kind of nervous to tag the people who like I bought it from, and I remember thinking like, you know, what if they go, "Hey, you're not supposed to use that for a job," or some shit like that, just some naive naive bullshit.
That licensing issue.
But, yeah, and then I was just like, but I bought this thing for this reason. So
dude. If there was no fine print on licensing, then yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, it's just like it. You know, I love seeing it. I think it's just cool, and it, you know, it brings like a nice warm feeling. You know,
for sure. My green screen is going nuts right now.
And like the licensing thing is funny too, because like some people are super hardcore about it, and you know, they probably make more money off their fonts that way. And I feel like we're kind of like we're the McDonald's of fonts too. It's like everything's like $10 to $20, and like you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. There's like yours. I'm like, you can give it to 8 people, I guess, if you want.
Well, hey, people listening, don't do that.
Don't fucking do that. Go buy
that. Do that.
I
always
talking
hate it. Oh, go on, Cole.
Or we were just talking on the Shirt Show podcast. We were on theirs, and we were talking about like using logos for like what it was priced out to be versus like apparel graphics. And if people take your apparel graphics and start blowing it out and doing it like on everything that you never said it was for, and like if you should sue or what you can do legally and all of this blah blah blah, right? And I feel like really even with the fonts too, it's like you probably are never going to do anything about it, but
Yeah.
like maybe that one day that we said to Google as a reference, like someone like really big goes and blows out like your thing and
Yeah.
breaks the license, then like maybe we'll probably do something about it and hopefully it'll like work out or time wise,
Yeah.
right?
But if it's
Yeah,
a young designer using it on a beer can for their local brewery,
Yeah.
Like who cares?
Yeah,
But if,
we've
like,
talked about like the licensing, like possibly just for like, you know, if someone like, what if like a big weed company just uses Chronic Sands as like their logo, you know, like
that's a great font.
kind of takes away from that of, you know, maybe if there's some way of putting in fine print, like can't be used for like branding or something.
Yeah.
But
I just want to be like
but
yeah.
again,
Like,
it's like, are you going to go through all that trouble? Like, really,
Right.
you know? But maybe at least it's
It's got to make sense.
Might scare
It's gotta
some
make
designer
sense.
kids out there to not use it for a logo.
How do you guys feel about the licensing too when it comes to like let's say for example you priced out a apparel graphic to be like on apparel only, and then they go and like make it their like brand crutch to like as their logo and blow it out? Like what would you guys do in that scenario?
that actually
It's
fucking
happened. Yeah. We changed our proposals and you know, putting a statement where you can't use anything with graphics kit is not used for branding, and that there needs to be that there's a charge if it is used for branding for you want to use it for branding.
We were doing like apparel kits, graphic kits for like apparel companies, and we always give like custom word marks and stuff, and they could be fucking logos, but they're just meant to be for merch, you know. It's like this isn't supposed to replace any of your stuff, but we didn't have that type of wording when we were first starting out doing it, and that happened with the client Hobo Jack, and they still use that word mark as their logo today. There's nothing we could really do about it though, you know, because we didn't say shit at the time.
It wasn't in the fine print of it.
And then even now when we have new clients with graphic kits, we're just very, you know, forward with them when we get on our Zoom call of like, you know, if we do a lot of type lockups of your company name, you know, that they can't be used for logos, and if you guys do want to you do a rebranding using some assets, like you know, if you want the logo, it's going to be a certain price, and if you want to add on to it, you know, we'll go from there. But
I want to say real quick, hey, Shirt Show, thank you for this great topic, because we're having a great conversation right now. Go check out that episode we were just on, Shirt Show.
But yeah, no, it's a super interesting topic, but also I liked what you said about like now you just put it into your proposals. Now it's just like another thing, and I've always said that every bad client should just be another line added into your proposal or disclaimer, right? Because
you know how many times that me and Cole have shared things, and he has given me a whole disclaimer, and we keep adding on to it and shit. It's just like, you know, every single time something bad happens, we're just like, that's going down there.
And like, I wouldn't even say like, I definitely want to make it clear that like, I don't think Hobo Jack was a bad client. I think we were operating like idiots though. You know what I mean? Like,
we were just dumb.
Their full ride, they thought it was, they could do, you know?
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. I didn't mean, I don't want anyone to think. I think you're right. It's not about being a bad client. It's about like learning lesson as a designer and adding that, so that way it really is our fault. We should be more specific in how we do things, because we as designers know all this information because we've been in the industry and have worked, you know, over and over with people. But the people that work with us, like, could be the first time they ever work with a graphic designer, or
exactly
haven't really ran through the cycle.
A huge thing I think, like, to add on to that is, you know, like how we approach it, you know, when we're working with companies, we're working with them, you know, we're not working for them, you know, like, and they might have an idea of how they want to work, but we're, you know, it's like, no, like, that's not how it's going to go down. Like, this is how we work. And you can like it or not, like, in a sense, you know, like, but like, lay it down, like, this is how it's going to work, and educate them on your process and let them know. And
100%.
that's how it's more smooth sailing, and you don't less hiccups along the way. We've learned a lot from that.
Yeah, because we're like, you're hiring us to do something, but you're not our fucking boss. You know?
It's funny you say those words. I just had to tell this client the other day, like, he was hounded me about, you know, hey, can we get this done early and this and that? And I was just like, hey man, you got to like pump the brakes a little bit, because like, one, we agreed to this deadline over here, but also like, you're not my boss. You can't call me at random times to get this done sooner and sooner. I was like, you do your thing because you don't want to have any bosses. He's like a comedian. And I was like, hey man, I am my own boss as you are your own boss.
Yeah.
But
And it's like some of the bigger companies, like we just did some work for T Public recently, and like they wanted something super fast. And Jeremy and I were kind of discussing like, what do we do about this, and adding on a rush fee. And we added on a pretty hefty rush fee. But since they are a bigger company, they're like, sure, sounds great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like awesome.
They didn't argue
Yeah.
it at all, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, I can't believe they said yes to that.
yeah.
There's so many like I
Yeah.
always try to listen to those freelance tips or all that stuff, and it's like, you know, start like increasing your rates like throughout like years, and if you're never getting like the pushback on your rates, like you're probably charging too little, and then
Yeah.
like you'll find your sweet spot where you're getting too much pushback or you're not getting enough pushback, and then like somewhere in the middle there is where you're going to be getting like a high price for a project, but also you might not be getting like as many smaller projects as you once had, but you're still making
For
a
sure.
higher bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happens with us every time. Like we've upped it, you know, we've been like, oh man, I don't know if this person's gonna bite, you know, and then they do, and I'm like, shit, I told you. Or Jeremy was like, I told you, we're fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
sure.
I can imagine you guys probably have like a leg up being like a team, because like as a one person running a canvas design company, it's like it's all been, you know, just myself making decisions. I've eat shit on a lot of different times. Doing this podcast is definitely kind of yeah, I've gained enough knowledge from other people, like I am, you know, kind of a part of a team. But how is it different for you guys, like bouncing ideas off of each other and decision making? Do you guys ever like butt heads over things? And oh, I'm sure you do, your brothers. Is there ever times to where decision making is difficult being a part of a team, instead of just going like, yeah, I could just make this decision myself?
I don't think it's hard at all. I think you know, most of the time we're pretty in the same mindset on things and have the same idea. And I think we're good at talking through those decisions too. Like even if, you know, we're very honest. So like if, you know, if I'm thinking something, he may be like, no, that's not right. And I'm like, that's a good point. You know, like
Yeah.
we're good at figuring those things out together. Yeah, so I don't think there's any difficulty there, you know.
That's
I
good.
think we push each other too in different ways for different decisions too.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to like up in price, you know, like
Yeah.
there's a fine line of sometimes you're like, well, you know, if you really want the project, you know, like
Yeah.
this is really cool. This is like an opportunity to a new you know, industry that we haven't got into. It would be really cool to like build from.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you do it to scare away or not? But you gotta like start pushing some of those prices sometimes. Like
For sure.
bigger
And those
things.
are like
And don't be
strategic-
scared of that too. Like
those are like strategic moves we have to make. And I feel like I'm the guy that's more like, Jeremy, we should just, you know, maybe not charge as much. And Jeremy was like, no, dude, fuck that. Like we've done that.
Yeah.
I'm usually the weaker one in that aspect.
Okay.
But then I'll listen to Jeremy and be like, dude, you're right. Like we don't
yeah,
need
because all the time it's spent into it, man. It's a lot
Yeah.
bringing on, you know, especially depending on the project, especially branding projects.
Yeah.
hmm
I'm prone to spending way too much time on projects that aren't necessarily paying that much. I'm a perfectionist.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm right there with you, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get scolded by my girlfriend going, why are you spending that much time on this? And I'm like, I have to make it perfect.
Yeah.
Like
And well, like coming from the agency world too, it's like where at work you have to track your time and put in your hours and how long you're working on stuff. And you have
Yeah.
project managers who are like, we're out of time on this project. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, it's fucking done. But
Yeah.
okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm on your guys' website and I'm seeing like, you know, a few of your headline projects that are all super epic. I've always seen like a consistent posting of on your Instagram of like the slice beer, and I've always wanted to ask more about the slice project and, you know, how you guys get to just create so many beer labels and designs, right? Like how's that been working for Slice? or slice your own?
No.
No, Slices, they're in Lincoln, California.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually got to do the branding for them when they started out. They were a new brewery down there, and yeah, we've just been able to do their label since, and just a continued relationship. It's awesome, and yeah, Jordan, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, well, part of their branding, was like one of the taglines we created was culture fresh, and like that's like the whole thing that they do is like they make kind of hype beers, like new IPAs all the time, and so we kind of got to throw away all the branding and just start making kind of label per label basis on like limited release. So like our whole goal is just to make like fucking fun, killer, different labels all the time, almost like a collectible type thing. And
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
and
there's no system.
yeah,
to
there's
any
no
of them. They're
system.
just-
Like we don't even have like a template of like where the logo goes every time.
yeah,
And they're not distributed anywhere, so it's not in stores. You're not competing on a shelf even. It's really
Mhm.
just like, how cool does this look for the local people that want to go pick it up on this day? And it's like
Mhm.
new shit for them. It's just more hype. So and then it's like about making merch and glassware and things like that. And like the comeback from Slice is like the people that drink it, some of those people actually tag us and shit now. They'll
Mhm.
like
That's
just
cool.
tag a picture of them in the beer, like cool label by Brethren Design Co. and killer beer by Slice, and like that shit's cool. Like
Yeah.
it's exciting that happens.
Yeah, there's like a Facebook group that I like join just because people are posting pics of them drinking, and like they make their own like little
People
setup.
make art projects out
Yeah,
of
dude.
it.
Yeah,
Stuff.
it's
That's
cool.
amazing.
So epic. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that just sounds like a dream client. One, to work in beer, and then two, to literally have like no creative walls like on any of the projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
It's
we've done like I feel like 75 to 100 beers almost. Like
probably like
we've only had to change two.
Yeah.
But they were
Like in rendition or like revisions.
yeah, like usually we'll just even like fully blow it out, or sometimes we'll kind of like just pitch the concept that we're going to do, and then it's usually good to go. But
Mhm.
there was a couple times where we didn't really pitch the concept, we just kind of did it. And,
Kind of random. That's awesome.
but
Yeah, Brooks. I think it was Brooks from Nowhere Line Supply. He was saying kind of the same thing. His client, they have such a good relationship over time that they'll just come to him with an idea. He'll sketch it out. He'll get approved on the first go around, and bam, he'll just pump out a beer label for him. That's kind of sounds like the same situation with you guys. Is you just get one round of approvals, and
And that really goes with like the communication that we were talking about, like in the beginning of like having those conversations like over Zoom or whatever it is, and having that amount of time in that relationship where you can build trust and realize that you guys are all like on the same page and have had previous projects that you guys get signed off and you go, oh, they did like this, they didn't like this, and then that way you kind of have the synergy together in the relationship.
for sure.
We've been working for Slice for it's about to be their 2nd year anniversary in November, but we worked with them about a year prior building the brand, 6 months prior. So, I mean, we've been working closely with them for a while. Russ, the guy over there, he comes from a marketing background, and he does marketing at this place called Old Town Pizza, which we just did a rebrand for. So their work he's brought us on to other stuff that he's privy to. Some of the work that we do for them, a lot of clients come to us because of a certain Slice can or something that they like.
Cool.
So it gives us a chance to like kind of flex. I mean, I feel like Brethren definitely has a style, but every once in a while we can kind of throw something in on the can that's a little bit different than we normally do, and we can try some things out. And I don't know, we're lucky to have that relationship.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, and now we're on the topic of brands. If you guys want, we can start sharing some of your work and kind of talk through some of your favorite projects.
I'll just share this. This is like,
sweet.
This is on our website, but some of this stuff isn't on our website yet. That's another thing we're really bad about. This passport program thing was a cool print project that we got to work on. And it actually kind of hit during the pandemic. So it was one of those projects that we're kind of like, man, I don't know if this is actually going to come to fruition.
That looks so epic.
That's sick. It's very, very different than
that's so
what you guys usually post. That's so cool.
Yeah, the gold
Is
foil.
this real photography or is this
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
mock-ups? Yeah.
This is real photography. This is actually the client took all these photos.
Very
Oh,
cool.
that's the best when you get the client photography back and you
Yeah.
didn't
Oh,
even have.
dude, that's the thing we've been the most lucky with like Slice stuff. It's like they have this photographer Anna that they work with, and she goes out and shoots, I would say at least half of their
So cool.
releases.
Yeah.
So we end up with this great photography of these labels
Yeah.
that we did, and we're fucking lucky.
Yeah, go back to that hop one.
The Kind Buds.
Yeah,
Buds.
the face on that
So
hop,
good.
like I wouldn't have been able to pull that off. Like I would have blocked out the 4 little ones to make a big hop to go in there. But you guys pulled that off so well.
Yeah, and Jeremy pulled that off. I was like, dude, because we were talking about making a hop character, and I didn't
Yeah.
think it was really gonna work, and it just does.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really works.
Oh, Yeah, I don't know, like, because usually I don't do eyes like that. I'm trying to think of what I was like thinking. Maybe it's just like a quick solution. I was thinking like to fit in there that looked all right.
I feel that.
They actually made that, or they have like Slice actually made a little
Plush doll.
a stuffed animal, or yeah, a little plush doll.
Oh, nice.
Of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, the hop
Yeah.
character. It's
You
like
have
legit.
one?
It looks.
No.
I would love to have one, but yeah, they just
Yeah.
made a couple they have like in the.
Yeah, you got to get your hands on one of those.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those things like some company that made them was like reached out to them and gave them one. It was like, hey, if you want to order some of these, I
oh,
think they were
okay.
pretty fucking expensive though. So
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
like, I don't know if people will buy these.
Yeah, they do some cool stuff. We actually just that we just posted it, but Sticky Flowers, a new label, and they actually made a glass bong with like the sticky flat, like the flat art
Nice.
illustration and stuff on it that they're gonna do. I think a giveaway for it.
Damn, this is so cool too.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
go to that. Yeah, what's in the box? What was this?
This is a box for T Public, and that was actually what's in the box was the thing they wanted it to say. We did of course it's a reference to 7. But yeah, so any shirt that you order from T Public now comes in this
in that
box.
There's
Yeah.
a big head as soon as you open the box.
Yeah, it's just Kevin Spacey comes out.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not canceled anymore.
Yeah, I know. But I,
Yeah.
This thing's
I
got a
was gonna make a really bad joke, but not on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, this is a fun one, and they were a great client to work with. Like their creative director over there gave us a little bit of insight of what she wanted to do. What's in the box is the main theme, and then we kind of basically just did a graphics kit as well, and then kind of priced it for the packaging. And
Yeah.
since they were a bigger company, we kind of approached it differently than we would have before, like on a packaging product. And it's like every single box that every shirt that is ordered from there is going to come in this. So it was a big project.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious too because I'm currently doing a box similar, but it's like for a product, and within the box they like initially wanted like 12 illustrations, so it was a little bit more than just like a box design, right? Because you can basically pull out any one of these icons and use it as its own anything. Like you could have T-shirts, you could have pins, patches, stickers, whatever. So are you guys pricing it per illustration, or are you pricing the project as a whole?
So what we did was we priced this as, here's what it's going to cost for the box design.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's a lot of supplemental graphics on here that you can pull out and use. If you want the rights to those to use however you want, you have to pay this amount, which we basically, we do graphics kits, and we have like 3 tiers of that. And we kind of were like, well, this is basically the middle tier of our graphics kit. So it was like, you pay this much and you can have all those graphics to do whatever you want. Yeah. And then we gave them some of the fonts, like, because we used a lot of our own fonts, and it's like now they're using Fat Camp, like on one of our fonts for like their marketing stuff, and it's on their website, which is cool. I mean, so yeah, it's basically like it was our first time to do like licensing of the graphics for other use.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
because most people would be like, and we talked about this on Shirt Show as well, like, well, I bought all these graphics for this box, why can't I just use them? Well, here's why.
Well, also, like, we're doing like the print design, like the way it's cut up, like we cut it up to where it's going to be screen printed. So even if you wanted to, I mean, you could erase around and try to clean up your edges, but it's going to be a bitch to try to like take those graphics off. You know what I mean?
I get
To
that.
an extent on some of them, but yeah. So even with the graphics kit, we send all the deliverables print ready, like individual graphics and all
For
that.
sure. So this pizza box, for example, all of the badges and stuff in the background, do you kind of blend that together so they can't just go in and go, all right, I want this hot pie. All that black is one vector.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
You expand, divide.
Pathfinder's a fun friend, right?
Yep.
Merge.
Yeah, well, that's the same with like providing any sort of like apparel graphic too, right? That's what I do. Yeah.
If you know pre-production for screen printing, then that's how
for sure.
This project was cool because like we did this before we started their branding.
Okay.
So we were kind of like, damn it, we knew we were in talks to do the branding, but they wanted to get this box done first.
Yeah.
And we were both kind of like, fuck, that sucks, because we like to do the branding first. But we kind of kept this like pizza character like to use in the branding a little bit elsewhere. But this is kind of interesting to see. So I mean, we posted the final branding, but we have 4 options on this, and their old logo, they'd been around for 20 years. This is actually the first like bigger branding project that we've done that was more like a refresh or a rebrand for a company that has been around this long. And like our first Zoom call, there's like 10-11 people on the call when we're doing our discovery session.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I was like, this is like a little bit nerve-wracking. I feel like a professional now.
They're really serious about the pizza.
Yeah.
Like super serious about the pizza.
Yeah.
That's great. No, you guys have an amazing deck that you're able to send to your clients. I mean, this is such a great like array of all projects you guys did. So I'm kind of taking mental notes here on how I'm able to structure mine.
And in total Cam fashion, I am taking notes, and that's what I'll do.
I love that cannabis page with the brand with the joints on it. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I love how you're able to pull that off, like pull out the branding into the border.
Yeah, that's really cool.
This is an interesting one because we've never shown this anywhere, and honestly, I don't think we're even supposed to. But the project got canned, and we got paid for it, which is cool.
That's good.
But we never went anywhere. They were like, well, we'll hit you up. We're gonna rename it and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, that'll be an additional.
Yeah, everything.
Starting from scratch.
That will be an additional everything.
I got
honestly
fonts too.
But we already paid for it. Well, it's not my fucking fault that your first name didn't work out.
Yeah, honestly, I've worked for my fair share of cannabis clients, and for some reason they have that similar trait of just changing everything.
Yeah. Well,
they got high and changed their mind. Wait, I don't like that anymore.
This company was interesting though too, because like, cannabis brands, either they're like kind of like just a like startup, or like this was a company in Canada that had like they had like stock numbers and stuff, like they were a publicly traded company on their website. And Jeremy and I are like, shit, let's charge a fuckload of money for this. We're like, it seems like they're rich, and they're like experimenting with making other brands under like an umbrella brand. So we knew that. Most people in the weed industry, despite what they'll tell you up front, they have money.
They have to.
You're selling weed, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
You're selling drugs.
Like, I know how much I spend on drugs.
Oh shit.
I don't know what else to show.
I don't know.
I don't know
about
you want to go through that yellow, those 25, 26, 27?
Yeah. And stuff is pretty cool. This is like a small husband and wife team in Lexington, Michigan. We did all their branding for.
I love that.
One of the things that we have started offering with branding is like we do a discovery session. We're not strategists really, but like we try, like with startups, we'll write like a positioning statement, and this is kind of one option. We usually give like 3, and this is a part we get collaborative with them on. It's like, how can you kind of just elevator pitch what your business is? So that's part of like the upsell on some of the branding kits that we do. Whenever it's like, instead of just a logo, it's like, hey, let's do a discovery session. let's talk about the tone of voice your brand has. Let's write you a positioning statement. Part of what we want to bring to the table is like a brand system that's, you know, responsive to everything. You have secondary and tertiary marks. What are some brand patterns and assets you can use?
Yeah.
And then how those things play out. But
It's amazing.
Such a good job, like walking you through all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like unless you show stuff like this, people won't understand the difference between like, you know, a simple logo kit and a branding kit. I don't know how many times I've had to explain to them, like, you know, with a branding kit, we're not just pumping out like a one logo mark with, you know, a few different type variants. No, we're breaking down into color. We're breaking down into patterns and, you know, different versions of a logo spanned out like, you know, 10 times. Like on a previous podcast that I did with Cole, we were showing some of our work, and I showed him for a branding kit, I did 100 artboards, and it's like that's kind of what, you know, you're getting. You know, you're getting the same. You're getting your logo, but you're getting it in, you know, different typesets and color schemes down to, you know, like we're just changing one simple thing, and it's not like it's easy work. No, it's like really hard work. You know?
And
so
direction on how they're gonna apply it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, this is a really straightforward example on how to sell some branding kits. I love it.
And actually, like the full version of this deck, like this is what we share right now. This is what we've been sharing for clients that are reaching out to us for branding.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is educational too, because like you'll have someone come through the email. It's like, hey, I'm starting so-and-so business. I need a logo for it. And then that's when we email, hey, yes, we do logos. Here's a minimum like for like 3 logo options. But we also do this, which most companies need as yourselves that are starting out. And we share this deck and talk about how we do the discovery session and just educate them a little bit on like what a full brand kit and a full brand system looks like.
For sure.
I like that you brought up the discovery sessions, because I find myself so many times not offering this, but providing it anyways, like accidentally, because they're like, oh, you know, just like they start asking questions as you're like developing out their stuff. And like, no, I'm always like, well, shit, I should have just like built out a larger proposal offering these sort of things, because in the beginning, when you show them what you're going to provide and you show them something like this, then it's physical. But if you're telling them that like you're just like going to charge them like $1,000 for like a conversation about how they can like, you know, gear their brand, some people like can't get behind it, you know?
Yeah. So we include it with just the package of like, this is how we do branding, and it's part of the package. And like most of the time through those discovery sessions, like, I mean, our deck is pretty 101, but most people have fun with it. Like we ask some random questions and we have like kind of positioning stuff. We talk about what that means and give examples, and we'll have them be like, what if your brand was a celebrity, who would it be? You know, just weird like that even.
I love that.
It's like gut reaction stuff that like, especially when it's a group of people, like they all have different answers and it makes them think about things and you kind of pull out stuff. But then it's also like a thing that you can go back to and be like, you know, if they're kind of arguing with what you've come up with or things that you've solved, you're like, no, remember you said this, like this is
you said it was Leonardo DiCaprio, like this is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly.
I want the Robert Downey Jr. of branding right now. Fucking black and red.
Like, is this not fucking Chris Pratt to you? This is crazy. Well, like one of theirs that they said, like theirs was Matty Matheson, and they were like super into him, like that chef, and he's kind of wild and stuff, and he liked funky stuff. And they wanted like a vintage appeal, like he wanted something that was like kind of reminded them of like Boardwalk Coney Place, like they could have been in Jersey back in the day, but like a little bit modern and funky.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it. I feel like I can go into this restaurant and hear Matty Matheson. Hey, there's Matty Matheson. You don't like it, get fucked. I love Matty Matheson.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think like what we also started doing recently too, when we're doing pitching brand Dex is doing those GIF slides with the branding, like
Yeah.
showing the stuff in some movement. It like I feel like
Yeah.
it gets the clients a little bit more hyped on it. Like
For sure. No,
you know what I mean? It just helps sell it a little bit more. Like it
got
brings
me
something
hyped on
to,
it
more to the table.
just
Actually,
from-
I was about to ask you like how you did this, and then I realized that this is like a Google slide, not like a stagnant PDF, right?
Yeah, it's a Google slide. So
Yeah.
it's just a GIF, but like we did it in Photoshop using the timeline. It's just stop motion, really.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things. Like when we pitched this, we kind of went through the things that we wrote for them, and then talked about kind of the approach, and reiterated things that we talked about in Discovery, and then we hit them with this first before we kind of went through everything one by one. And I think the look on their faces when they saw this, they were kind of like, "Whoa!" Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, boom, there it is. But then we take
Well,
it a step back and start talking about it this way.
Yeah.
Refining it and then doing everything slide by slide. But
Well, and I'm assuming these are pretty like young people, so to catch their attention, like they say you have to capture a millennial's attention span in 15 seconds. Well, you show them that little GIF like right out the bat, and you're like, okay,
15 might even be long.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah. Then they're ready to see everything that was in that, flash.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's break it down. I want to see everything you just showed me.
Exactly.
I want to know what it's about.
With a project like this, do you create a font for this brand, or do you just kind of go into your Rolodex of fonts that you've created and just use it?
So for logos, I mean, we always straight up custom for the most part.
Gotcha.
Base it off a font and customize it.
Yeah, it might be based off font. Like this one is kind of honestly because the dude really loved Bryce font that you can see is like the titles for the menu or whatnot. So I took that font and I took Chronic Sans and those as inspirations, and I developed these letters from those inspirations. So like
cool.
The A is very similar to the Chronic Sans A.
Yeah,
they kind of have those waves in there. Like that S is super like unique and custom
for sure.
So like kind of got that kick of the R like from the Bryce font, but it's different.
Yeah. And then we kicked out fonts. Like we kicked out a font with this that the only thing you could type was Superstand, but we just did that so you could type it on a path and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my next question was, do you hand off that font to them? Okay, no, so they can only use this
you don't want them making their own badges.
Yeah, exactly.
that are current like shit. No.
Because I was gonna say that would be in my head, that's what I would be thinking. Like, I don't want them making their own designs. I want them coming back.
No, it's just good to be able to make our own fonts, because when we do make those custom letters, we can throw those letters in to type on path. Like, make legit badges with the type.
Now, how does that conversation go? Like, if they come up to you and go, I mean, I'm sure you don't go into details with like, hey, yeah, we made this whole custom font for you. But what if they were to come to you and be like, hey, by chance, can I get that font? How does that conversation go? Like, hey, any of your design needs, you can come to us. Is that how it typically goes?
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like we give everyone at the brand kit like their brand fonts, like or the recommendations, like like we said in this one. I guess the type thing's not in here.
Bryce.
But yeah, we gave them Bryce, and then we gave them a body copy type that we selected. And we're working on a brand right now that the custom type that we've created, their name is so long, it's like almost a whole alphabet. So we've kind of like created a font for us, and Jeremy and I work still in like the throes of like debating, should we make this a whole font? Should we make this like part of their brand, like for like headlines or whatever, or will that dilute the main logo type? So we're still trying to navigate that, but ideally, I would like to have a higher price branding kit that does create a custom font for their brand. And if you look at like corporate branding stuff, like I'm pretty sure someone made one for Netflix recently. It's like Netflix Sans, or IBM has a Sans, and a lot of them are just modified other fonts, they kind of whatever. But I'm like, dude, I bet they get paid like $300,000 for fucking IBM Sans.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I had
Maybe
a conversation with Mikey from Boss Dog, because we had the same font, but it was named differently. So mine is Lovecraft, and it was a font that my dad used on his cards, his like sign painting cards. And so I saw that, and I saw him use a very similar font, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I love Lovecraft. And he's like, what's that? And we started chatting about it. Oh yeah,
Is it
it's like
storybook?
it's a prime example of how there's so many fonts to where you just kind of tweak it a little bit and then name it something else, and then bam, it's out there in the ether of design.
Yeah.
But
like it was this font that we created. Like, man, I went to like an antique. I went to an antique show.
Go ahead,
What?
dude. No, I was gonna say, is that other font Storybook, or whatever you said?
I think so.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it is Storybook.
Because like I feel like I can picture both those on font. I like do sorority shirts. I'm like on font all the fucking time, and it's like, I feel like
For
I
sure.
wanna do that.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
bought Lovecraft from Creative Market, but same type of font. Yeah.
right on.
I see that all the time. Like certain fonts that like people make, and it's kind of like based off something
Yeah.
else. But
Dude, I'll see fonts and I'll be like, is that the font I made? And then I'm like, nah, it's not, but it has like
Yeah.
symbols. Like, oh
Yeah.
shit. I mean,
and
there's
it's just,
only so many ways to do a letter,
Yeah.
yeah. And even
That's
this,
true.
like I was saying with this font, I go to this vintage antique show all the time. That's like yearly in Tulsa, and there's like all this old packaging and shit. And I'm like always taking pictures of type, things that are like dead. They're probably not even a digital file of it anywhere, and some of it's like hand done. And we'll be like, oh man, like the way this A is cool, and like you don't have the rest of the letters. Like you only have whatever the name says.
Yeah.
So you get inspiration from that, and then build the rest of the type around it.
Yeah.
Just kind of like revitalizing old stuff and getting inspiration that way.
I look at old like hand type, packaging where they're like hand type painting. So like, you can find like a unique letter and then kind of go
that
from
one
that.
was the same way. Like I think we were like really liking this.
Yeah, that style L's on something.
Yeah,
like an old packaging, just had those.
And so you just kind of reimagine the rest of the type based off of that. That's
you get a few letters and then
that's awesome.
you just kind of go from there. You might, you take maybe similar characteristics. You might tweak those characteristics a little bit into like your own groove on it.
Cole and I have been kind of messing around with joking about an idea of making a Pen Tool Pals custom font to like give away on our website or something like that. This is definitely fueling that inspiration.
Yeah. This was like a super informative Pen Tool Pals in general. I feel like we learned so much.
Yeah.
We got
this has been like really this has been really fun too. I feel like because we've done a few podcasts now, and I feel like this one's been like so different in format of like, what we've talked about.
That's really what we're
sure.
that's really what we're aiming to do, is to kind of do a different kind of podcast where it's not framed up with a bunch of questions. Like the questions just happen naturally. The one with Draplin was a prime example of how off the rails this thing can get. and I pitched him on that with like going like, I don't know what's gonna happen on this podcast. And he was like, that's great. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, no, like we just want to. This is our selfish way of talking to the designers that we've always wanted to kind of chat with and be friends with and stuff like that. So, but it's been super, super fun having you guys on this thing, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Man, likewise. For sure.
Yeah, and again, in such short notice, like we definitely really appreciate it.
It was super fun chatting.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
definitely. Well, before we leave, tell everyone where they can find you on social, and that way, if you don't follow them already, go ahead and follow them.
Right on. Well, you can follow us on Instagram at Brethren Design Co. And you can check our shit out at brethrendesignco.com.
Go buy all of their fonts.
Yeah,
everyone.
Yeah, go to the store and click on some fonts and
buy a font and tag us in it with something that you make.
Yes. Yeah, because we like seeing that.
Yeah.
100%. Well, cool guys.
Thank you guys, and thank you for being a pal. Yeah.
Thank you for being a pal, guys.
Pen Tool Pals for life. All right, see you guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you for being a pal.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Thanks for being a pal. And thanks for watching this episode. And if you like this episode, there's plenty more. Go ahead and watch them. They should pop up right here if Cam did a good job editing. And if you didn't, they'll probably be here soon. Thank thanks so much for being a pal and watching our show. We'll see you next week.